Once guilty pleasure romance novels, they are now getting more respect, thanks in part to TikTok. Even as overall book sales fell in 2023, listen to this, the sales of romance novels like these, look at these titles, continued to rise. Romantic fantasy novels are contributing to the popularity and topping all the bestseller lists. And Nancy Chan, minus her fan this time, sat down with one notable author. You know, a fan is very sexy, Nancy. Good morning. You say these are not your mother's romance books.
No, they are not, Gayle. These books have plenty of those spicy and saucy scenes, but add immortal creatures, dangerous adventures, and creative world building, and you get romantasy. These red-hot books have plenty of people blushing and bringing in a new generation of readers who just can't get enough.
If you're looking for love, you'll find lots of it on the shelves of the Ripped Bodice.
So there's something for everyone.
Yes, I really, truly believe that. If I can't find something for you, I'm not doing my job.
Leah Koch and her sister Bea opened the Brooklyn bookstore last summer. One of the first of its kind in the country.
So we have No Good Duke Goes Unpunished, Booked on a Feeling.
Packed with pink and plenty of puns, it's a love letter dedicated solely to romance of all kinds, including queer, historical, and even paranormal.
For so long, romance books have been relegated to a dark corner in the bookstore. And now we have a whole shop devoted to them.
Yeah, we wanted to create a place that was the exact opposite of that, where romance is on display, front and center, completely celebrated. The question, do you have any werewolf cowboys, is taken seriously. And we're like, yes, right this way.
This was my first 5-star read of this year.
The shift comes directly from readers, driven by passionate reviewers on TikTok and a community known as BookTok. Sales of romance novels shot up by more than 50% from 2021 to 2022. And they've kept growing as the steamy genre, once dominated by Fabio covers, finally gets its due.
It's always been the largest share of adult fiction and the best-selling. Was it treated as if it was? Absolutely not.
And why is that?
Romance is not exclusively, but primarily a genre that is targeted towards women and produced by women. It was always going to have an uphill battle.
The books themselves have changed significantly. People see themselves in these books a lot more than they used to.
Absolutely. Traditionally, romance has not been inclusive at all. And we still have a tremendous way to go, but we have made incredible strides forward. There is so much more available now for everyone.
Another major factor, the rise of romantic fantasy, or romantasy, a love story set in a fantasy world, usually with a few rather spicy passages not suitable for morning television. 6 of the top 10 books on the New York Times bestselling list right now belong in the romantasy genre.
I just want to go over some things for
And the community isn't just online, with events like trivia nights devoted to the Court of Thorns and Roses series.
The danger of fantasy that you find in it kind of heightens the excitement of the romance.
After initially hesitating about pivoting to the style, author Jennifer Armentrout now has 10 romantasy books to her name.
You have to create that world. You have to establish rules for that world. It's a lot of fun, but it's daunting.
And today, From Blood and Ash, my first high fantasy.
Armentrout published the first of her best-selling Blood and Ash series in March of 2020. It was an instant hit.
Anytime that the world becomes very stressful, very tense, and things are out of control, you tend to notice there's an uptick in fantasy, uptick in paranormal. And I think that's because it is more of an escape, because you're not entering a world that's familiar.
And as more women are reading, writing, and celebrating the books, the West Virginia author says the shift goes beyond the page. A noteworthy evolution in a world dominated more recently by series like Game of Thrones.
Fantasy traditionally, as a genre, has been associated with violence toward women. But it seems like fantasy romance really changes that.
In a lot of fantasy, sex is a weapon. And one of the things that fantasy romance takes back is taking back sexuality, is taking back autonomy. And a lot of fantasy romances, you see the role reversal. You see it's the women who are in charge. And that's a long time coming.
And you know, in full disclosure, I had not read a romantasy book before we started working on this story. I did it for research, and I got hooked. Like, I could not leave my couch for the rest of the day. I had to finish the book. And I'm not the only one. There are so many younger generations of readers who are saying, I'm falling in love with reading
I
again.
get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I've been to that Rip Bodice because we did something for Oprah Daily and met Leah. Number one, the store is great.
It is.
Buy
They have, well, they,
She's not going to tell you.
no, I didn't, only because I was in a hurry. But I would go. I would go back and get something because I really love the book. They have an erotica section. They have a paranormal, as you point out, whether you want a rom-com, whether you want business. And I think it's great you're doing this to show that sex and love is a very happy, healthy thing when done right. When you meet the right person. I love this
It's
story.
absolutely true, and it's good for reading. I think we saw maybe one guy in like a background of one of the shots. I have to say, a little advice for the boringly heterosexual males out there: read this with your partner, and you will be in for a good, not so clean time.
Even if you read it by yourself, you could have a good, clean time.
Tony, I can even go better than that. Klaus, who's over there on Steadicam, when 50 Shades of Grey came out, he said his wife read it and he goes, I'm exhausted.
Wow, Klaus. Look at Klaus in a new
but
way.
I think that is a very healthy thing. To your point, Tony.
Yes.
I think that's a very, and we need to not be uncomfortable and giggle about it. I think it's really
Embrace
terrific.
it and be proud of
And his
it.
wife is lovely. She's lovely.
My heart is
Glad to
racing
hear.
right now. Yeah, real hot for a second.
Like you don't read a romance.
I am the romance, Gayle, okay? I am danger. All right, Nancy.
Black rain in the house.